another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life, which is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I basically explain and show you and tell you my own asexual journey in order to help you in yours. So if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button now. Hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I post a new video or go live now. And don't forget, if you like this video when you're going through it, please give it a thumbs up. So on today's episode, I want to talk to you about what happened with the guy who I'm going to be meeting up with tomorrow now. Now, you may have remembered several days ago, well, it was a week ago on tomorrow, actually, last Friday. Hello, Michael. Nice to see you again. Thanks for tuning in. So last Friday, I went out with my friend and it was a pub we went to. And we met up with a lot of her other friends that were out, and she does karaoke. And I was brave enough to approach a guy I saw who came in there, who was foreign. He looked really smart and nice. And the way I approached him was through body language. So it was through smiling. So if you saw one of these previous videos about who should approach the person, you know, the other person, the guy or the girl approached the guy or the guy approached the girl. Or obviously it doesn't have to be a guy or girl if you like the same gender as you, or it's an agender or transgender person. But that was a question I got asked in a YouTube video, you know, who should approach who. And you should, you know, just seize the moment, seize the opportunity and just go for it. As soon as you see it, don't wait for that person. Having said that, I do things in a more subtle way sometimes, or sometimes I do more things in a more blatant way. So sometimes I'll just talk to a guy and say you look beautiful to him, blatantly, right in front of him. Other times I will probably wait and worry about it and think about it for a while before I actually say it to him. But the other way of doing it is smiling. That's a lot more subtle, and that's what I was doing on Friday. But I had to do it about 5 times before the guy definitely got the, you know, the signal to come and talk to me, please. Do you know what I mean? I really like you, like the look of you. So anyway, this guy didn't just start talking to me. He actually asked me to dance, which was really nice considering there was only, I think, well, it was a karaoke, so people weren't really dancing there. I think it was just 2 other sets of people up dancing. So that was really nice. And he had exams on Tuesday when we were supposed to meet. So we're meeting on Friday this week. And I got some messages from him, which was so sweet. One was about, I'm just really happy to know you. And the other one, which I thought was beautiful and heart-melting, was the fact I'm closing my eyes. It was part of another message, but I can't say the rest of the message because it's kind of private. But anyway, yeah, the latter part of the message was I'm closing my eyes for 5 minutes and it's Friday, meaning he's really looking forward to seeing me tomorrow and he wants it to come already. And that just melted my heart, you know. I don't know what orientation this guy is. I presume he's heterosexual, but I don't pick up any bad sexual vibes from him. And, you know, it really melted my romantic heart, to be quite honest, when he said that in the message. No, that is so lovely. It means he really respects me and is looking forward to seeing me and can't wait. And so I'm feeling really good about it. So, like, a week ago, well, not even a week ago, less than a week ago, I was, like, worried about seeing him and nervous, anxious, because if you look back in my videos, I said I get relationship anxiety and dating anxiety. And so, you know, it's kind of hard, but he's kind of friend zoned me as well. But the way he speaks is romantic at the same time. So I don't know. I don't know if he just means it really friendly or if he means he's attracted to me romantically. I would say from the body language last Friday when he was holding my hand that it would be romantically. But since I kind of think it's friendship, so it's really hard to know with this guy. Anyway, I'm just really happy because he keeps adding like, oh, friend. You know, like, I'll see you on Friday, friend, which is nice because it does put me at ease. And I think that's really good. And one thing that I've noticed about foreign guys in particular, because that's who I talk to the most, because that's who I'm most romantically and aesthetically attracted to, is they are in a minority in the UK, particularly in terms of people's attitudes towards them. And I think this is one thing that asexuals and foreign guys, for example, in this country have in common. So it's kind of like something I have in common with him already, which he doesn't know I'm asexual yet. He knows I don't like sex because I said that to him. So I have yet to explain me being asexual and what that means when I meet him. But I think it's really important. People say that asexuality is part of LGBT plus QIA because we're in the minority, but there are tons and tons of other minorities, not just sexual orientations. There's ethnicity, as well. So it was very interesting when I had a heterosexual guy interested in me, an Indian guy, but in the end I thought he was using me for job sponsorship. So I've cut all ties with him now. But he said to me there's not many British women who actually like Indian guys. It's really hard. About 75% don't. And I found this really strange. And I said, well, how do you know that? And he goes, oh, because I trawl through people's Facebook profiles and look at them. I'm like, oh, so you've been looking for a woman online for a while then. So I think, I think that's what he was doing. I think he's just hunting a woman down in the hope that he can get in the UK, because I found out one of his friends has got a girlfriend, and his girlfriend somehow sponsored him to get into the UK. I don't know how she did that, because unless you've got a company that's a registered sponsor, you can't do it. So I don't know if that's a legitimate sponsorship thing or what. But I think that's what he's going around doing. And he saw that I liked Indian guys and then quickly said, I love you. But I just think it's rubbish, because he asked me about sponsoring him. I didn't even know him. It's like, I haven't got the money to sponsor him anyway. And even if I did, I don't know him. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to sponsor someone just to get in the country, just when I don't even know them. And they're just lying to using me. Oh, sorry. I put my alarm clock on because I didn't sleep last night really at all. So I slept in the day before I did this live stream. Well, a little while ago before I did this live stream. So yeah, I digress. So so I think it's really interesting that he said that to me, because it's kind of like something I need to know. And so he said 75% don't. He's obviously been pedantic about looking at this. And that's what I found out. I don't get a lot of CP than oh, that's great, Michael. Well, I say it's great because I'm like part of the don't see the point in sleeping club, but sometimes I need it. But it's like last night, I couldn't sleep at all. I had an appointment today and I kind of didn't go to sleep. I think it was till 4 a.m. And then when I had the appointment, it was kind of like, I was thinking, am I going to get the alarm? Is the alarm going to go off okay? But having said that, I set 3 alarms all the time, so it should always go off okay. And I had some newsletters, asexual newsletters to do tonight. But I started doing one. I started nearly falling asleep because I hadn't had any sleep last night. So I decided, I better get some sleep, especially because tomorrow night is when I'm meeting this foreign guy. And I'm going to be out till the early hours of Saturday morning. So I thought it's better to get more sleep today. I've got to go into the city centre again tomorrow. So I thought it's better to get some sleep today. But I do need to catch up. I haven't done a newsletter for over a month. It's terrible. I didn't do one at all in September. I was sick for half of September, if you remember. My mind was just not on. And and I've been really bad with doing that. I feel bad because I'm supposed to do 2 newsletters a month, and it's the first time I've missed a whole month out, and I'm like, crikey. So I hope to make up for it and do lots of newsletters soon. I want to do one for Asexual Awareness Week because it's coming up very, very shortly. This Sunday it starts. And I need to do some blog posts on my blog as well. So I do need a lot of stuff, but if I can't keep my eyes open, I need some rest. It's been a bit stressful lately on some stuff. So, I'm just finding all my feet again. I'm getting back to how it used to be and doing regular stuff again. So it's good. But going back to this guy, I think the reason why this guy likes me and likes me talking to him, he said I'm a good person as well. And he's excited about seeing me. I think part of that is the fact that he's finally found someone in the UK that he can hang out with, that he can go out for meals with, that he can go out dancing with, that gives him some female company, and that also respects him as a person, and the fact, that his ethnicity. Do you see what I mean? Because he's Iranian, and I had a Pakistani friend who used to live in the UK, be one of my best friends, and he said a lot of people, because of obviously all the wars in the world and stuff like that, very prejudiced towards Pakistanis and people of different ethnicities, because they see them as a threat or bad people, and so they give them weird looks in the streets. But I take no notice of people like that. I've got lots of foreign friends online. I've talked for years and years to foreign guys online from all backgrounds, Bangladesh, Indian, Pakistani, people from Iran. I don't think I've spoken to that many people from Iran, actually. I've got a friend from Algeria online. I've been friends with him for 2 or 3 years, I think it is. Um, I've been friends with quite a lot of people online around the world for quite some time. And so I kind of end up talking to them, see their culture. Not every person who's Iranian or Pakistani is going to be a bad person. My Pakistani friend that was over here, he was lovely to me. Great guy. Gotten really well with him. And this guy seems really polite, really well spoken, and really nice. I'm really looking forward to seeing him. But I think part of the thing is that, like, we asexuals are in a minority in the world. I think, especially for a foreigner who's from a certain country that has a certain reputation for war, I think they're in a minority when it comes to them coming to England, because I think that, some people are quite hostile towards them, will give them weird looks and stuff like that. Whereas it's just ridiculous. I appreciate that people get a bit scared and they're fearful about what they don't know. But, not every person's going to be bad, are they? Do you see what I mean? It's ridiculous. I know people that are Muslim. My cousin is with someone that's Muslim. She's been with him for over, gosh, now. Well, I saw my cousin. I went with my cousin to Disneyland Paris in 2014, and she'd been with a guy, I think, then for 4 years. So they must have been together like 8 years now. He's Tunisian, but his culture is Muslim. She doesn't agree with all his customs as a Muslim. She was talking to me when I was over in Disneyland Paris. They have certain rituals with animals, which aren't particularly nice. But she said, I accept that as part of his culture. I don't think I could do that because I love animals too much. But you know what I mean? So it's just like different cultures and different religions and stuff. So yeah, he just seems so happy to see me. So I'm not sure if some of the romantic stuff the stuff that's coming as really friendly romantic, like I'm closing my eyes for 5 minutes and it's Friday, meaning he's really can't wait to see me on Friday. I don't know if that's more to do with the fact that, yeah, I'm a good person, because the reason he said I'm a good person is because I do accept people from all different walks of life and different nationalities, different ethnicities, different and predominantly I have younger guy friends, but I do, like, still have, like my best female friend, she's older than me. So I do still have some older friends, but predominantly they're younger. But, I think it just means that he's happy, because when he said I'm a good person, it usually means that I respect people of different cultures and ethnicities, that they actually like it as well in a lot of foreign cultures, that I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't smoke, and I'm not into loads of sex, because, some guys who live abroad who are good guys, they don't like a woman that's just out for sex. You can get the foreign guys that come to the UK that like the Western society because they can get loads of sex. Then you tend to get the guys who come to the UK and they're glad to meet a person like me who's actually kind, honest, and cares about them and giving them a chance as a friend, and not into the sex stuff and that type of, like, flaunting your boobs about type of person. They actually respect that more, because in some foreign guys' culture, the woman's covered up and they're not allowed to reveal themselves until, they get married to their man. The only person they get reveal themselves for naked wise is their man. They don't have boobs on display and stuff like that. And so in some cultures, of course, for women, sometimes that's really repressive. In some cultures, you've got to think that sometimes a man doesn't treat the woman very well. He thinks she's subservient to him. You've got the flip side of that, where, she cooks his meals, she's a homemaker, she's subservient to him in some cultures, not all, some cultures, in some religions, so there are sort of like bad things that I think about cultures, and, liking foreign guys as I do, I'm quite aware that some of them are not great. I don't think they're all brilliant. I mean, a lot of Indian guys, I love Indian guys, to bits. Overall, I still want an Indian guy, but even Indian women in their own country are fed up with a lot of them. They find them obnoxious, very sexist and stuff like that. And I know from my experience of Indian guys, a lot of them try to use me for getting a visa, for job sponsorship. And, that's disgusting. I just really think that's disgusting, especially when in their culture they really respect their mum, usually, and the woman in the house, in the sense, she's the head of the house. But when it comes to a woman who's like younger than the mother, who's or who isn't their mother, basically, they sometimes lose all respect, or they have no respect that much for the younger woman. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the younger woman's beneath them or does the cooking and cleaning, and that's what their job is. And I think it's really tough. And there's a lot of Indian women that equally, they're happy to do the housework. There's equally, women, Indian women, who want to get away from that culture, away from that. Like, you've got to be a housewife, subservient to me, and all the rest of it. They want to get into the, like, I'm a happy, healthy woman on my own. I'm very independent. I don't need to cook and clean for a guy. I've got my career. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes that doesn't fit in with that particular culture. But I just wanted to, like, touch on the fact that there are minorities in other ways, not just to do with sexuality, and they can find, I mean, obviously it's well known there's other minorities, and they can face discrimination in different ways to us. So I think it's really interesting that everyone thinks we should be part of LGBT plus QIA because of our sexual orientation being a minority, whereas LGBT are as well. However, our sexual orientation is geared towards who we're not attracted to, whereas theirs is still geared towards who they're attracted to sexually. I'm talking about. So we're not sexually attracted to anyone. They're still sexually attracted to people, just different, just different attraction to the, different sexual attraction to the norm. So they're like, bisexual, pansexual, homosexual. Do you know what I mean? So, and transgender is actually to do gender roles. So I find that quite strange that it's even clumped there, really, because gender and sexual orientation are a different thing as well. So, I kind of thinking, well, just because we're in the minority of sexual orientation, should we be clumped with that? Because, people have other different minorities, but you don't really see the sort of ethnic minorities like Iranians, for example, partner with the Pakistanis. You don't really see, like blacks partner with, who are in ethnic minorities, partner with, I don't know, coloured people. So, it's kind of like, why are we partnering up and not being in our own right, if you know what I'm saying? But then I think we should be strong in our own right anyway, because I think we should get asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation in its own right throughout the globe. That's my mission anyway. So I appreciate the people that are LGBT, that are a asexual gay, asexual lesbian, asexual, bi person, would want to be part of that as well. I do get that. But, I just wanted to touch on the fact that I think it's really sweet. This guy's put me really at ease. And I think it's really important to understand that there are not just sexual minorities that are struggling like us to find a voice. There's also people who, can be different ethnicities or race that can also struggle as well. And I think it's important to acknowledge we do have a commonality, and that is we are in the minority. It may be different in orientation, but it's still a minority. And I think maybe that is why overall I got good feedback. Positive experience on Plenty of Fish. Ancient number systems didn't have a naught, and when naught was proposed, there were arguments over whether it was even a number and belong. Long story short, it made too much sense to include it. Oh, that's very interesting, Michael. Very interesting. So yeah, I just think it's important to acknowledge other minorities, and I think that's why I had some good experience on Plenty of Fish in that way. It's like I keep asking myself the question, so how come I got on much better with Plenty of Fish than other people did? When I was on there, I haven't gone back on there yet because I've got too much to do. I don't want it to take up my life. And I think one of the things is I'm speaking to I see asexuality as naught in sexual orientations. As in, we don't experience any sexual attraction apart from asexual. Asexuality is a spectrum, so some people don't they, at the other end of the spectrum. That's the only thing. But you could argue that, that asexuality is the zero end of the whole sexual spectrum, full stop. Because really, the asexual spectrum starts at aromantic, then it goes all the way up to the demisexuals and grey A's. Then that's when sexual attraction is full on, and sexuality, sexuals start. You're asexual. So you got the whole asexual spectrum, then merging with eventually after the greys and demis with the sexual spectrum. We're all on a spectrum, really. But if you want to think of us all as one in that way, you can do. In the sense we're all on a sexual spectrum. Just we're on the zero, it goes with us from 0 up to theirs, full on blowing through the roof like a gazillion, 100%. I guess the people that want sex like 5 times a day, they would be 500% on the sexual scale. So yeah, I met a guy, foreign guy, a long time ago, and he had an ex-girlfriend, and they had sex every day. He was saying, I don't necessarily believe that, but for years, was it 9 years or something? Like, geez, I don't know how she kept up with that. It's like one time is like, oh, a few times is just like, whoa. But yeah, I thought when I went on Plenty of Fish, I thought, I use the filters really well, but I'm honing down what I really want, and I'm very specific, and I'm very positive and very strong in my asexuality, which does help. But I think also it's the ethnic minorities on there. Like, I did speak to a lot of the Indian guys on there, and I think they find it really difficult. There was one Indian guy who said to me that he's only speaking to 2 people, and one of them was me, and he's finding it hard to like start conversations on there. And if what the other sexual Indian guy that was interested in me, I think, was using me to get sponsored for his country, if what he was saying is correct, that 75% of British women don't like Indian guys, that means there's only 25% that do, which puts them in a minority. I'm always shocked by how much sex people have. The average is apparently around twice a week. Yeah, twice a week. Actually, I thought it was higher than that. So you shocked me. I thought it was higher than that. Yeah, twice a week for some people wouldn't be enough. But for me, like, I met a guy in an asexual group who I'm friends with on Facebook. And it turned out, well, he said he was demisexual, but it turned out he's not really demisexual at all. He's abstinent till marriage, really. And anyway, when we talked, he said, oh, I'd like, I said I couldn't do sex. And he said, I'd like it once a week, which is not much. And I said, once a week? I said, I don't even want it once a month. Do you know what I mean? I just found that really, really hard. Like, once a week. To me, that's like too much. It's like, please. And I do think the worry is say you do, say you're not a repulsed asexual. I'm personally repulsed. I'm personally a sex repulsed asexual these days. But say you're not repulsed, and you do do that with your partner. I think the danger is they'll like it and want it again and again and again. And once you do that with them, it's like kind of like I feel like you have to make excuses or avoid the issue or do other things, and then it can starve you of the intimacy you need. Because if they're getting used to the sex, they want it more. They're not going to want to kiss you as much usually because they're going to want it to lead to sex. You're not going to want to kiss them because you're going to be fearful that it is going to lead to sex. And, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like that avoidance. Because in the past, when I did have sex, like, I would usually kind of avoid the subject quite a bit and stuff. And, in the end, I kind of felt like, it would have been nice if I'd got some more kisses. My ex was usually really good. But there was a time, I do remember, the one time when he said about, when he kisses me, it makes him want sex. So basically, he didn't want to kiss me as much. And you've got to be really careful of that, because it can be a controlling, manipulative thing, or it can actually be an honest thing, as in the sense that's how it makes them feel. So that's the only time that really triggered, like, is he being emotionally manipulative? I mean, he was bad. He was a really bad guy in every other way. He was very abusive in lots of other ways. Don't get me wrong. Very abusive, especially verbally and psychologically. But in the sexual time with him, he was a completely different person a lot of the time in the way he was with me. He's really kind and caring and considerate and thoughtful and nicer. So it was like a completely different person. No one would understand exactly what it's like unless they were in my situation. It was like the person in that short period of time was a person that I thought he was in the first place, but the rest of the time he wasn't. I mean, when we were coming to the end of our relationship, I didn't see him very much. I lived here, thank God, and I think I used to see him twice a week in the end, if that. But I think maybe 1 week we didn't see each other at all, because I didn't want to spend time with someone who's abusive, and it was getting really upsetting and stuff. I was with him for 8.5 years in total. 1.5 years we split up, and then sadly after 6 months I got back with him. I should never have got back with him, but life happens, doesn't it? You do these things sometimes, even though they're not in your best interest. But what I'm saying, it's just like I used to remember, wanting to do the washing up, and I would have rather done the wash. I hate washing up, but like I say in my Asexual Perspectives book, I'd rather do the washing up than have sex. To me, it's I hate washing up, but it's better for me. So it's kind of like, I think when people are compromising themselves in relationships, sexual relationship, I think it can be very difficult, especially if you're hugely romantic and need the kissing. Like, I need the kissing without the sex, Just imagine if I just decide, oh, well, I'll do that a handful of times. I mean, I can't even bear the thought of doing a handful of times a month for someone. Do you know what I mean? Like, once a month, I can't even, is overwhelming thought even for me these days. You know what I mean? But no, I can just imagine that it would lead to them wanting it more and expecting it more. And it would be hard. I think it would be harder for them in the sense that, you know, one minute you want it or you don't really want it. You're just saying, yeah, we'll do that. And the next minute you're saying, well, I'm not bothered now. I can't do it with you right now. I just find that kind of mixed signals. But I know there are asexuals that are in relationships with sexuals and they do make it work. There's one person in one of my asexual groups. I think she's been with her husband, God, is it how many years? It's 18 years or 12 years? I think it's 18 years. She's been with a sexual husband for that amount of time. It's a long time anyway. And she posted about it and she said, and she does have sex on the occasion, but she said he never pressurized her or talk her into anything he'd talk her into doing anything she doesn't want to do. But it sounds like it's not that frequent. But she does do that for him and it's okay, she said. But which is fine if she's okay with that. But I just, I need the kissing badly and I just can't see myself with a heterosexual being able to have lots and lots of kissing without him wanting sex and it becoming a really, really significantly bad issue between us. Like, every time he kisses me, he wants sex. He can't get it, so he gets frustrated and has to go in the toilet and does whatever he needs to do. And then, but it becomes like too much for him, too much for him to bear all the arousal, but without it leading anywhere, especially if I don't do masturbation on him or whatever, because, and he has to go and relieve himself all the time, which it's kind of like, yeah, get on with it. I'm not interested. But kind of even him getting on with it in the toilet makes me feel a bit gross. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, well, I know what you're going to be doing in there. I don't want to know. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to know about that. So I don't know because it's like the only reason I'm even bringing this up is because obviously I've been on sexual dating sites recently. The Plenty of Fish one, not really site, should I say? And if I'm speaking to sexuals on there, I kind of need to think, is there anything I could do to help them in that way? But right now I'm thinking, I don't want to be with a sexual guy. I would really rather be with an asexual guy who loves kissing like I do, and I don't have anything like that to worry about. It would be really better for me. It'd be a lot healthier for me, a lot happier for me. I don't have to worry. I can just do lots of kissing. I don't really get bored of kissing. Don't really get fed up with it. I just love it so much. I'm a really kissy person, and I find kissing quite exciting and relaxing at the same time. Quite stimulating, stops me getting bored. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like a thrill in my life, so it's kind of like really nice. But if I had the pressure of the sex there again, I just think it would be not as pleasant for me and I wouldn't be living up to my full kissing potential, if that makes sense. It's like lots of people, I do understand why people love sex because I love kissing. So I do get it from that psychological mindset point of view of, oh, if I must love lots of kissing, I guess why that's why they must love lots of sex, if I'm looking at it logically. If I'm looking at it from an asexual point of view, I'm thinking, well, why the heck do they like all that sex? It's pretty disgusting and boring, and I can think of better things to be doing with my time. So it depends where I look at it from the logical understanding perspective of where they're coming from, or whether I look at it from my own asexual perspective of, I really don't want to be doing that ever again in my life. Look. So it's kind of nice that I can see both points of view and both sides of the coin, but that doesn't really help me in the sense of if I was even to consider being in a sexual relationship, because I can see their point of view and it's good that I can see their point of view, but it's also difficult at the same time because I could feel like I was depriving them of something they really needed. But then I really have to try and find a sexual guy if I was going to consider a sexual guy who really definitely didn't mind not having sex, which is going to be like, I don't know, very, very, very rare. Do you know what I mean? They'd have to have a really low sex drive, or maybe they'd be abstinent and they've just been abstinent for so long, if they're sexual, you know, because abstinence isn't the same as asexuality. It's refraining from sex, even though they still experience sexual attraction and would have it if they wanted to allow themselves. Those exist. There are people, there are sexuals that abstain from sex. You got to watch it though, Michael, because there are sexuals that abstain from sex for religious reasons, and some of it is just till they get married. So you got to be very careful. Like I'm online. They go, oh yeah, I don't have sex. Oh great, but then you find out through questioning them that once they have are married, they'll have sex. So that's another reason why I'm cautious of foreign guys, because some of these foreign guys, they're in asexual groups, but they're not really asexual. They're only asexual because they're not having sex. That's not asexuality. That's abstaining from sex till marriage. And so, you know, even the fact that they're interested in marrying me, one is probably for a visa, usually, to come and stay in this country. And two is, if you married them anyway, likely some of them would just be abstaining and they'd expect you to have sex with them then. And they'll be like, well, that was just because my religion is I can't have sex before marriage. So you're just really important to know that these people are out there. So you need to find out definitely if they are asexual, if they're just abstaining from sex. And obviously you've got impotent people as well. Like I could quite happily be with an impotent person who can't ever have sex in their life. It'd be great, because I don't need that. I don't need a guy's what's it to be up. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not interested in that. But if you get with an impotent person, you've got to remember that their mindset's completely different, really. And if you get with a guy who's abstaining, your mindset's different. That is oh, sorry, I need some water. That is a difference between asexuality as well and abstaining and impotency. It's not just a physical or religious thing, it's a mindset thing. Asexuals think differently. We don't get the need, urge or want for sex in our mind. So for example, if I'm really snogging a guy, kissing him passionately, if you don't know what snogging is, my body's getting really, really aroused, but my mind's never like, oh, let's have sex now. I want sex with you. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't. And that's how different it is. Whereas someone who's impotent, they'd be like, oh, you know, I really want sex, but I can't do it. And it's frustrating for them and they want it. And it can make them, you know, it could make them quite angry or frustrated. And, you know, even kissing someone, you know, it could make it unbearable for them that they're kissing, feeling highly aroused and they can't have the sex and they want it. So they don't understand the mindset of an asexual person that just doesn't want it, is not bothered about it. To them, it's a disability, you know, it's a dysfunction, isn't it? So it's something that's quite negative to them a lot of the time. It's impotency is something they're ashamed of. They have a negative experience about it, a lot of them. They feel bad about it. They feel less, if it's a guy, they feel less of a man about it. It can destroy their self-confidence and stuff like that. So it's completely different mindset, you know, and it's very relative to people who are disabled as well, who can't have sex. You know, just because they're disabled and can't have sex doesn't mean to say they're asexual. And I've got people apply to my asexual groups that are disabled and can't have sex, and you know, it's very difficult for me when they like, oh, I can't have sex, I hope I'll be accepted to your group. And I don't always accept people like that, because if they're not really asexual, my groups are for asexuals, and it's a different mindset, it's a really hard call. Because it's like, you know, they might be still asexual because they might just like be disabled, can't have sex, and they've lost all interest in it for that reason. But, you know, you get people who are disabled, can't have sex because of their disability, yet they still would have it if they could. Their mindset's different. So they don't understand the mindset of an asexual. So that can still cause issues in a relationship. Because, you know, they can feel deprived because they can't do that physically. Whereas an asexual can feel elated that they can't do that because they don't want it. Do you see what I mean? And this is where the conflicts come between impotency, and a person who's impotent can't have sex, a person who's celibate and doesn't have sex, and a person who's disabled and can't have sex. This is a huge discrepancy between asexual, you know, that mindset, and those people. It's a completely different angle. However, you know, people who are disabled who can't have sex for a disability, or people who are impotent and can't have sex, they look for, or even people who are celibate and don't want to have sex, don't want to allow themselves to have sex, they could fit well with asexuals in the sense that, you know, it's hard for them to get a partner without sex. So they could be a good match for us in that way. Because, you know, there's bound to be groups of disabled people online for impotence, you know, who struggle to find a partner, who struggle to find the love without the sex. You know, some people, if they have an accident and they end up disabled because of the accident, you know, their partners can leave them because they don't have sex anymore. This is actually what does happen. I've seen it. I've seen it in groups, you know. I mean, I've got fibromyalgia. I don't go on about it. I don't talk about it much. I don't bring it up. It's a disability that's for life. I got diagnosed with it in 2012. It's a chronic pain condition, actually, that affects the nerves, the muscles, and the nerves and the muscles of the body. You know, I don't think about it, because if I think about it, I'll start getting worse, you know. But I have pain in my neck, my back, my pelvis area is the worst, and my legs is the worst, you know. And actually, many people with fibromyalgia, not all of us, but some of us can't have sex, or many people actually struggle with the sex because of the pain, because fibromyalgia makes you sensitive to any type of pain and sensitive to any type of thing. So, you know, if at all that person experiences anxiety, which a lot of fibro people do, they have anxiety and depression, or one or the other, or both, and they don't know if the anxiety depression is a symptom of fibromyalgia or if it's fibromyalgia causes that. But, you know, there's some fibromyalgia people, they can't have sex because their fibromyalgia makes it too painful in that area. And so, you know, I'm in some fibromyalgia groups, and, you know, sometimes their partners leave them because they can't give them sex anymore because they've been diagnosed with this disability for life. And I feel for those people because I know what it's like, you know. I understand that well. I used to get some pain down there, and if I did that now with a guy, I'd get even worse pain because I haven't been with a guy since my diagnosis. So, you know, it's actually good for me not to have sex. But I think if I really, really wanted to, I could probably have it like on the tip or something, because that's, you know, like, I don't really like talking too much about really intimate stuff, but then I do talk about it all the time anyway on my channel. So, you know, but for a fibromyalgia person, you know, one of the ways you'll experience less pain, if there happens to be a fibro person listening to this, is if that, you know, you go on the guy's tip, you know, so you're not right in there, because, you know, it can be too painful. But some people with fibro, they just can't do it at all. You know, they can't have it at all. I mean, I found out I was asexual just before my fibro diagnosis, but that area isn't good down there, you know. So yeah, but, you know, like I said, I think if people sexual, some people who are sexual with fibro, I think some people, you know, possibly could do it or would do it. Even I know some fibro people, they do it even though they're in pain. I've read people in the forums, you know, they do it because their partner wants it, and because, you know, maybe they do want it to be close to their partner in that way or help the partner out, but sometimes it's really painful for them. I've seen what they go through, you know. And I think it's such a shame that people leave people over a lack of sex, but they do. It's like, I just watched a video from a dating coach before I came on this live stream, and I thought it was a really good video that I wouldn't mind sharing with my group. And it was 10 reasons why you're in a healthy relationship, which I thought was a really good video to share. And then it got further into the video, and then it started talking about sex. Like, you must have a good sexual relationship because the difference between a friendship and romantic relationship is sex, which we know as asexuals is simply not true. And, you know, and he was all about, oh, you know, if you haven't got good sex, or you're not having, you know, you're not having sex for a long time, you go without sex, your relationship's dead in the water. It's gone. And it's like, as an asexual person, you can imagine that is very hurtful if other asexuals are seeing that, you know, because it's completely different for us. That's how it differs hugely. And I think it's important for asexuals to know this. This is how the sexual mentality kind of works. This is how they are, you know. They see sex as part of something that's essential in a relationship a lot of the time, but for us it isn't. You know, for me, the difference between a romantic relationship and a friendship is the kissing. It's the intimacy without the sex, you know, but more intimacy than I would usually have in a friendship. Like, I don't kiss my friends on the lips. I don't cuddle my friends. You know, I hug them to say hello, goodbye, but I'm not stood there cuddling them usually. I'm not in bed with my friends, you know, I don't go into bed with them. But some asexuals do. You know, some aromantic asexuals do, actually. I find the aromantics tend to be two types of ways. Like, some aromantics, they don't want much touching at all. They don't even want to be touched on the shoulder. Or they, you know, maybe that's enough for them, just a pat on the shoulder or just a gentle touch. But they don't, you know, they're not even keen on any type of holding hands or anything. And then I find the other aromantics, you know, they do need some intimacy. They like sharing a bed. They like even holding hands, and may even like a peck on the cheek or the lips, you see. So you just have to know that, you know, people who are sexual have a different mindset to asexuals. And, you know, we're all different in our own unique ways. So if you are watching this video and going to be with a sexual person for whatever reason, it's good to understand their mindset and how their mind actually works. You know, if they're going without sex, is it because they're good in their mind about it and they've realised that through talking to you, they see a different life and they see maybe a better one, or one that's more pure in love, or one that's more innocent, or one that's more intelligent, or one that's got other things going for it, and they really don't need that because maybe they're sapiosexual, for example, and they're sexually attracted through intelligence, but maybe the intelligent conversations are enough to stimulate them that they don't need so much sex, or maybe they can go without sex. You never know. So it's really important that if you are entering any sort of relationship, that, you know, you discuss the wants and needs of that person. You find out what their mindset's like. The mindset, I would say, in terms of like asexual to sexual relationship, is the most important thing, because if in their mind they believe that sex is what they need, that if you don't have sex with them, the relationship is dead in the water, like this dating coach said, if that's their belief, then the relationship with you and them is not going to be a healthy one, not going to be sustainable, and it's going to end in tears for both of you. So, you know, always find out their mindset. Don't just listen to the, oh, I like sex. Listen to their mindset and the way they look when they talk about their mindset, their facial expressions, you know. Are they actually telling the truth? Are they calm when they talk about it? Are they anxious? Like, I'm saying this, but I don't really mean it. Like, I'm looking away and my legs bumping up and down, and, you know, like, you know, there's some sort of discomfort there, and you know, you can see on their face that, oh yeah, I really like sex, but it's fine. You know, it's like their eyes are up whenever they talk about sex, and you can see that's the way their body language is, and they're really into it, but they're trying to tell you that they're fine without it, you know. If they're saying, oh yeah, well, that's fine, you know, and they're quite a shrugging shoulders, not big deal to them, then, you know, you might have some leeway for them actually accepting your asexuality. So I hope this video has been useful, helpful, insightful. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Michael, for all the wonderful questions. It's really nice having questions from you on here. I think it helps a lot of viewers as well, and it helps to have a really good discussion. So if you haven't already subscribed and you're watching this channel, please subscribe now. Hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I post a new video or go live. I'm wrapping up now. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. It really helps me getting up in search engine rankings. It really helps me spread awareness of asexuality. And share this video if you think anyone will benefit from it, a friend, a relative, whoever. Don't forget, it is Asexual Awareness Week. So if you haven't already prepared for that, get some videos ready, share them, you know, share my channel videos, share other asexual channel videos. You know, it just helps to spread awareness of asexuality. And I hope from these videos you get a context of asexuality in, you know, everyday life. You know, I don't just do a few videos. I'm constantly vlogging on here, constantly kind of sharing with you asexual points of view, things that happen in my life to help you in your own asexual life. At the moment, I'm live streaming every single day on this channel still. Have been doing it since the 1st of July this year. And I'm trying to share my own journey in order to help you in yours. You know, I'm trying to put into context asexuality in everyday life and helping you. And I hope that it is helping you. I hope that you're really finding some interest and some insight into how to asexualize your life and how to really, you know, embrace your asexuality, and how to understand other people around you, their behavior, and your relationship to the rest of society and the world, as it were, with your asexuality. And hope to, you know, that you find my advice helpful in things like dating and relationships. So until next time, embrace your quirky and each other's. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like I said, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Michael. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in, and I appreciate it. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. Oh, don't forget, I'm going out on my date tomorrow night, so I have to do a live stream much earlier. Take care. Bye.